Night City's underbelly is full of vendettas, gang rivalry, and twisted loyalties. In Bring Me the Head of Gustavo Orta, V is hired to carry out what seems like a simple hit, but under the neon lies a story about mistaken assumption, gang conflict, and one man's chance at escape. Stay with me as we dive into every angle of this gig, the mission, the truth, and the way of choice. The gig is handed to V by fixer Sebastian Ibarra, aka Padre. Your target, Gustavo Orta, a high-ranking member of the gang Valentinos. Why? Because Gustavo's girlfriend, Martha Frakes, daughter of a 6th Street member, was shot and fell into a coma. Her father, believing Gustavo was responsible, hired Padre to get revenge. On the surface, it's a simple revenge contract. But as with many jobs in Night City, nothing is ever that straightforward. Here's the tea on Gustavo Orta. He and Jackie Wells were actually friends when they were younger growing up in the Valentinos. And then when Jackie left, Orta began to rise through the ranks. Orta was known for his lack of mercy towards rival gangs, and in this case, that means the 6th Street gangs, who both occupied Haywood. Orta began dating Martha Frakes, who was the daughter of a senior member in the 6th Street gang. Now, obviously, the bitter rivalry made this a little touch and go. Gustavo actually attended the funeral of Jackie Wells to pay his respects, along with a Valentino entourage, including his girlfriend, Martha Frakes, who went under disguise as a fellow Valentino named Martha Young. A little bit after, the 6th Street gang actually ambushes Gustavo, and Martha was shot in the head during this attack and was hospitalized in a comatose state. The girl's father is Nolan Franks, who then blamed Gustavo for his daughter's condition, as he believed he was responsible for her injury, not knowing that his daughter would be at the ambush site. For that reason, Nolan hired Padre to contact an assassin to remove Gustavo. It's said that Nolan doesn't actually care that much for his daughter, but because of this whole circumstance that happened, even though it was his own gang that shot his daughter, he then feels like he has the right to go and put a hit on Gustavo's head once and for all. To get this gig started, head to the marked apartment building on Pytell Street in Haywood. Take the elevator up to the 32nd floor, and that's where Gustavo lives. Once you arrive, you've got some options. If you're on the Streetkid life path, you can do this completely non-lethal, and it's the easiest way to get it done. Use the intercom and talk your way inside with the guard. He'll let you freely go up to the apartment. If you're not on the Streetkid life path, but you have a body ability of 17, you can use brute force and break your way through the door. The third option is to use the shutters that can be opened in the hallway. Opening them will allow you to jump down into a small ledge, which will then lead to the upper balcony. Once you're on the balcony, you'll need to crouch down and turn off some security cameras if you want to go in non-lethally. Now, the brute force doorway is more likely to lead to a non-lethal outcome and alerting the other gang members. Once inside, head to Gustavo's office, and now this is where the choices really matter. If you reached him without alarming anyone, Gustavo gives you his side of the story. He claims that Martha ran away from her 6th Street family, chose to be with him, and insists he was not responsible for the ambush. It was a 6th Street hit meant for him. He argues that Martha's injury was collateral damage, not his fault, which we learn is true. In that moment, the gig turns from a simple assassination into an interrogation. Is the man you are hired to kill really guilty, or just another victim of gang hatred, caught in a deadly feud? You can choose to listen, and that choice changes everything. The outcomes here really matter on what you did initially in the gig. If anyone was harmed, then automatically there's going to be a shootout with Gustavo. But if you were able to do this in a non-lethal way, your choice really has some potential. So option A, kill Gustavo, you storm in, take him out, collect his body, drop it off, and the gig is complete. Quick, clean, and no follow-up questions. You did what you were hired to do. Option B is to spare Gustavo and expose the truth. Don't kill anyone and believe his story. Hear him out and convince Gustavo to leave Night City forever. He's reluctant to abandon Martha at this point, but agrees to go when V points out that Martha will never be safe as long as she is together with him. He gives V safe passage out of his apartment so you can easily leave without fighting any other Valentino gang members. However, if V hacks any other computer terminal or does anything a little sketchy and he alerts the gang members, they'll become hostile. You can do this stealthily, but at this point, you might as well just leave the apartment peacefully. Now, just simply exit the apartment building and head to the drop point for your payment. You'll receive 3,170 eddies, 565 XP, and some street cred. If you actually kill Orta, Padre will just call you immediately and you don't have to go to the drop point. If you didn't kill Orta, about a day or so later, Padre will actually call you to inform you that Gustavo committed suicide, but he's assuming that V somehow made Gustavo do it, and he's impressed by it. So V can then return to Gustavo's apartment to loot his body and and receive a note. As Gustavo's final wish, he actually contacts his own hitman, Karubo, to start a private war with 6th Street. This same note can be found on Gustavo's body if you kill him right away. So this means he was planning his suicide all along. This gig is a twisted reflection of Night City's gang wars: love, loyalty, betrayal, and blind justice. On one hand, you have vengeance-driven 6th Street pushing for a kill. On the other, Gustavo's story reveals a tangled web of gang rivalry, prejudice, and tragedy. By sparing Gustavo, you don't just defy a contract, you undermine a narrative built on hatred and assumption. But you also risk being naive. Maybe Gustavo really is guilty. Maybe saving himself just gives a dangerous man more time. The ambiguity, the emotional weight, that's the point. It's a reminder that in Cyberpunk 2077, every contract written in blood has consequences, and sometimes the harder path isn't the one with a gun. Whether you side with vengeance or mercy, expect fallout. The city doesn't reward heroes, it just pays. Tragedy, love, loyalty, rivalry, a little Romeo and Juliet-esque. That's the full breakdown from Bring Me the Head of Gustavo Orta. The gig that starts with a contract and ends with questions about justice, loyalty, and what it really means to walk away. Which path did you take? Did you pull the trigger or walk away trusting your gut? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit the like button and subscribe for more Cyberpunk 2077 and Phantom Liberty lore and gig breakdowns. Ring that bell so you don't miss the next one. I'll see you guys back here next week.